Today, we're diving into a headline that's been making waves. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif recently called Donald Trump a peace ambassador.
Yeah, that's quite a statement, especially considering the regional tensions around Pakistan these days.
Absolutely. What do you think prompted him to use such a term for Trump?
I think it's partly strategic. Aligning with Trump's deal-maker image might be an attempt to ease US-Pakistan relations.
That makes sense. But isn't it a bit ironic? Trump's foreign policy wasn't exactly seen as peaceful in every context.
True, he did broker the Abraham Accords, but his South Asia approach was often unpredictable.
So, do you think Sharif's statement was aimed at the US audience, or more for domestic consumption?
Maybe both. It sends a signal to Washington, but also reassures Pakistanis that their leader is proactive on the world stage.
That's interesting. Sometimes these kinds of statements are more about perception than reality.
Exactly. Diplomatic language is like chess. Every word is a move.
Speaking of moves, how do you think this affects Pakistan's relations with neighboring countries, especially India?
Well, calling Trump a peace ambassador could be a subtle nudge, suggesting a willingness for dialogue.
Or it could be seen as a provocation, depending on who's listening.
True. Regional politics are a minefield. One word can spark headlines, or even tensions.
Do you think Sharif is hoping Trump will play a mediating role in South Asia?
Possibly. Trump has previously offered to mediate on Kashmir, so maybe Sharif's comment is an invitation.
But do you really think Trump would get involved again, especially now he's not in office?
Hard to say. Even out of office, Trump's influence is still significant, especially with the upcoming US elections.
That's a good point. Maybe Sharif is thinking ahead, hedging bets on who might be in the White House next year.
Politics is always about anticipating the next move, right?
Definitely. But I wonder how this rhetoric plays with the Pakistani public.
I think there's a mix of opinions. Some might appreciate the outreach. Others might see it as pandering.
And what about the military's perspective? Pakistan's security establishment often has a strong say in foreign policy.
Absolutely. If the military sees value in engaging the US, Sharif's statement could align with their interests.
It's fascinating how a single phrase can reflect so many layers. Strategy, domestic politics, even international signaling.
That's diplomacy for you. Sometimes it's as much about what's unsaid as what's said.
Do you think this will have any real impact on US-Pakistan relations?
Maybe not immediately, but it plants a seed. The US likes to be flattered a little, especially when elections are near.
Flattery as foreign policy, classic.
Hey, sometimes a compliment can open more doors than a formal request.
Agreed. But given Trump's controversial reputation, could this backfire?
It could, especially if critics accuse Sharif of ignoring Trump's divisive policies.
Or maybe it's a calculated risk. Sometimes you have to gamble for potential gains.
Speaking of risks, do you think this affects Pakistan's ties with China or Russia?
Possibly. China and Russia might watch closely, but Pakistan has always balanced its alliances.
That balancing act must feel like walking a diplomatic tightrope.
No kidding. And with regional tensions simmering, every step matters.
Do you think we'll see more of these grand gestures in the coming months?
Probably. Leaders often use big statements to test reactions or signal intentions.
It's almost like a diplomatic reality show. Who can make the boldest move?
Exactly. And sometimes it's less about substance and more about headlines.
Do you think the international community takes these remarks seriously?
Some do, some don't. Analysts look for deeper meaning, but the public may just see it as political theater.
Yeah, and with social media, even a small comment can go viral in minutes.
That's the world we live in. Diplomacy in the age of hashtags.
So, bottom line, is peace ambassador just a catchy phrase? Or could it lead to real change?
I think it's both. It's catchy, but if it opens doors, then it serves a purpose.
Sometimes all it takes is a headline to start a conversation.
And who knows, maybe that conversation leads to progress.
Or at least some interesting tweets.
Always. Before we wrap up, what's your final take on this diplomatic move?
I'd say it's a blend of strategy, timing, and a little bit of showmanship.
Agreed. In international politics, words are tools, and sometimes weapons.
And sometimes just good PR.
So, will we see Trump as a peace ambassador in South Asia?
Only time will tell, but the stage is definitely set for more drama.
And with that, we'll leave you pondering the power of words in diplomacy.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep questioning the headlines.